Second point for this Greek founding of our thought The second theme had to be the first people among all these far Near East and far Eastern European people to think about where they did come from, arts and technical skills. So for instance, to take the first and only vowel alphabet, the Greeks asked who had invented these 5 vowels. And they had some names, some mythical names, as possible candidates for the introduction of 5 vowels into a pre-given, consonantical, only consonantical, Northern Syrian alphabet. There was mythical Cadmos, the founder of Thebe. There was Palamedes from the island of Euboea. There was Prometheus, you all know, as the captor of fire and letters and the alphabet in Aisios. None of these mythical heroes is really the author of this innovation of the 5 vowels, but certainly the alphabet itself as an innovation is led and lays the very basis for every poetry and science and philosophy whichever took place and takes place in so-called Western culture. And there were not only mythical or factical men who invented, but the goddess Athene invented weaving, and what the goddess Aphrodite invented, everybody knows. There can be no law without Aphrodite's help. She makes love and beloved beautifully, more beautiful than before. Okay, that is why Techne, in the old Greek sense, encompasses every activity which, in contrast to nature, to physics, grows not by itself. You have to distinguish in Greek praxis and poiesis. Praxis is just the way we move around in an ethical way, in the polis, in the state, and so on, without any work as a result of this praxis. And physics would be the reason why flowers bloom and animals mate and disappear and die. And poiesis, or techne, would be the way we produce things that have not been before. In this way, techne imitates physics. Art imitates nature, and this is called mimesis in the Greek sense. This mimesis of nature done by poetry, by techne, can range from the highest to the lowest form. It can consist in making up a glass in order to drink. It can consist in making a god's or a goddess's statue in marble or in bronze, and then it is a making considerable enough to be honored by memorizing the name of the man who did this work. And in any case, it's opposed to the most important two praxis and poiesis men, that is, women and men, can do. They can make children. This would be not technopoieia, but technopoeia, the making of children. Since 1800, after Christ, technology is the goal and the dream of every modern national or global state, and in Greece the most fundamental condition of survival was technopoeia, the making of children. This is the first line of the first commentary of Xenophon on the Polis of Sparta. After all these wonderful things came Athenian philosophy and formalized it, throwing out music and numbers from this great beginning. And it was especially, above all, Aristotle, pupil of Plato, founder of the Lycaon, who formalized all this stuff about myths and making, children making and so on. And it was his treatise on physics and on metaphysics which put the ongoing and unending theoretical scape or scheme which we follow in every second sentence without knowing and reading Aristotle of Stagira. He defined mistakenly everything in the world, everything, every flower, every body, every star, and what else you have. He defined everything starting from Techne instead of physics. And so stars are made by somebody, and flowers are in a sense produced, and as vases and statues and technical things are produced. And therefore, since Aristotle's, or by Aristotle's measurement, everything has 4 and only 4 reasons to be, to have come into existence, either for some years or minutes or for Greek eternity. And amongst these 4 origins or reasons or principles of everything that is, the third reason in Aristotle's saying is unimportant. This is the maker. Whether he's famous like Praxiteles or infamous or unknown like some race maker, that's not it. The name of the maker and the function of the maker is the least important part of this thing. Much more important is the matter. You take glass in order to make a glass. You take wood in order to make a ship. You take marble in order to make a statue. This is important for the statue. But much more important for the statue than the marble would be the idea, the morphe, the form, the gods and the goddesses have presented to mankind since immemorial time in their pictorial and oral and written down tradition. And if the sculptor or painter is able to get this form, Apollon has since 300 years or Aphrodite has since 500 years, when this form is well implemented in this body of marble or bronze, it's almost okay. But the fourth and more and most important reason to be for things is why they are, to do which function in the future, and that's different from the form. The form is an intemporal definition of lines and figures and so on. But what shall the statue do in the future if I make it, if I'm an artist?